Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Eat with Russ. Going to be smoking a pork shoulder butt roast today for the Easter weekend. It's a lovely spring afternoon outside. I'm going to be using my own product, my signature dry rub called That's the Rub. Got a big jar of homemade version that I'm going to use for this. So first we want to go ahead and season this guy up. Get a nice coating of the rub on here. Just kind of pat that in a little bit. Now normally sometimes I would cut off some of this extra fat cap if I was doing something else with it, and I would use that fat to make my own homemade lard for other cooking purposes. I'll show you how to do that on a future video. But in this case, because it's going to cook low and slow on the smoker for a few hours, I'm going to leave that fat there to keep it nice and juicy and moist and extra flavor. Gonna make some pulled pork out of this thing once it's finally ready. Got the fire going already outside. Got some wood chunks soaking in a bucket of water so they don't burn right away. And I think that guy's just about ready for the smoker. All right, we're ready to throw this guy on the smoker. Got some cherry wood chunks down in there. You probably can't see it through the smoke, but I got a pan that I like to throw water in on the bottom shelf because it keeps it a little bit more humid inside, keeps it a little more moist, keeps the meat from drying out. Dry rub is soaked in nicely, so we got it ready to go here. I'm running the smoker at roughly 225. And it's a little bit too much smoke right now, but that'll mellow out and die down, and it's going to be more of a thin blue smoke, which is ideal, what you want. So we'll check back in on this guy in an hour or two. All right, it's been about an hour and a half. Let's take a look and see what's going on out here. Still looks pretty jelly. Still running about 225 on the temp, mostly good and steady. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over just the same. Let that fat soak in. Got some decent little grill marks on it, but you can tell it's real jelly. We got a ways to go on this. Probably another couple hours at least would be a guess. Well, we'll check back in a while. All right, everybody, it's been about a little over 3 hours. Time for a status check here. This time I'm going to actually get the meat thermometer out to see what our internal temperature is at. So when you do this, you want to get to as close to the center of the piece of meat as you can. So what I like to do is kind of measure how far it's going to go in from wherever end. So I'd say that looks like about the middle. So I'll put my fingers right there, get as close top to bottom center as I can, go straight in up to where my fingers were, and we'll see where we're at. By the way, these little thermometers are great. They calibrate pretty quick, almost an instant read, and they're super accurate. You can get these things for cheap on Amazon or whatever, 10, 15, 20 bucks.
I think that one's giving you.
So let's see what we can get to here. We're actually getting there here. We're at almost mid 120s. And all we need to get to is cooked. By the way, don't ever listen to your thermometer's recommendations for the doneness of pork, because that means your pork is overdone and ruined. They want you to get this stuff to like 160 or 165 or something ridiculous, and that's some dry-ass pork that you don't want to eat. All right, so we seem to be hovering, hanging out at 122. So this time I'm just going to leave the meat thermometer in, and again, this cheap little thermometer, so handy. I can just set the temperature that I'm looking for, and it'll start going off like a clock radio alarm when it's at that temperature. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm just going to shoot for 135. I want to cook it to higher than 135, but I'm going to set it there because that'll give me a heads up. Ooh, actually, you know what? I forgot. I'm going to smoke some corn on the cob too. So I'm going to bring that down to, actually, you know what? It might not be too early to throw the corn on now. I'm going to set it to 135 and see how long it takes to get there. Oh, my fire's flaming up already with all this air getting in with the lid off. So, yeah, I think we're coming along nicely. It's getting a little late, but, you know, it's only been a few hours. So we're good to go. We'll check back in a minute. I'll show you when I throw the cord on. All right, everybody. It's time to throw these corn on the cobs on here onto the smoker. Probably should have done this a little earlier, but I didn't realize what the internal temperature of the roast was until I stuck that thermometer in. So I'm just going to kind of place these around wherever. Doesn't really matter. They're going to get the ambient heat. They could easily take an hour maybe at this temperature, maybe 45 minutes. I'm just guessing. I'll come out and turn them a time or two. I don't peel them or, husk them, wrap them in foil and whatever. I just like to cook them in the husk and then husk them after they're cooked and then slather them with butter or mayonnaise or whatever you do with your corn on the cob or your elote or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, we're doing some corn. Oh, you hear that? That's the sound of my little alarm going off. We've hit my temp. I set it at 148. We're at 149. That's all right. I'm going to let this thing rest, and it's going to still rise a few degrees while it rests in the oven. Let's take a look at what we got here. Let me shut this thing up. Ooh, corn looks done. All gravy, baby. Yeah. I'm going to take this inside and I'll show you how I shred it in a minute. All right, we got our roast rested. It actually didn't rise much in temp. We're still at 149, but that should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the thermometer probe and grab a couple of forks. And start shredding some pork with my forks. If it was a little higher temp, it might be a little bit easier, but this will still work out just fine. And there is a bone running somewhere through the middle of this thing, which my dog will appreciate. Pro tip, I should have put a wet towel on the counter underneath this half sheet pan, because then it wouldn't be sliding around, but that's all right. As you can see, it's cooked all the way through. We're fine. Oh, it's a little bit pink. It's pork. Don't be a wuss. Don't overcook your pork. It's safe to eat. Trichinosis is not really a thing in domestically grown pork. Well, I'm hitting bone here. Move over to this area. Oops, knocked over my dry rub. All right, I gotta dive in. Oh. I wish YouTube had smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision. Anyway, it's delicious. I'm going to show you how to make pulled pork sandwiches in a second, and I'm going to show you uses for leftovers after that. All right, we're going to slather together this pulled pork sandwich here. So the way I like to rock it, I just dump some barbecue sauce right into the pork. I like to just mix that up a bit. And then just slather all over whatever bread you choose. This could be good on a roll, like a hoagie roll. Hamburger buns work fine. In my opinion, there's no such thing as too much meat. So go big or go home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is the dry rub that I made it with. That's the rub. Enjoy. Thank you.